Hello, my name is Curtis Wilson, and this is the final oral presentation for EDUC 522 Accountability. This presentation will cover concepts from the class as they relate to the over-identification of African Americans as emotionally disturbed in the K-12 system. While this presentation is not meant to be specifically about disproportionality or over-identification, it is necessary to provide you with a brief overview of this accountability problem. Disproportionality in our educational system is found in all 50 states, with historic disproportionate rates going back more than 40 years documented. Not only are African American students referred to special education at much higher disproportionate rates than other groups, but furthermore and more specifically, they are specifically identified as emotionally disturbed 1.5 times as often as non-African American students. This problem must be addressed. It leads to improper placement, lowered expectations, increased dropout rates, and more problems in school, which lead to lifelong consequences outside of school. Over the course of this semester, we have studied many new key concepts. 3 of them stood out more towards our problem of practice. The 3 concepts I'd like to discuss throughout this presentation are accountability types, benchmarking, and improving accountability. You'll recognize these from the 3 papers that we wrote throughout the semester. Most public school organizations follow federal guidelines and directives. Initiatives such as No Child Left Behind and How Every Student Succeeds Act are examples of accountability models. Burke characterizes these structures as both bureaucratic and political. The fact that these federal education initiatives are driven by policy, designed by bureaucrats and policymakers to stabilize and regulate, and use outcomes as indicators ties these directly to the bureaucratic and political models. Looking at this structure, you can see that the federal dictates what happens at the state controls the county, and the county looks after local education agencies. Those are your local school districts. Within that LEA, you have a board, typically elected 5 members, sometimes 7, a superintendent, middle management, principals, and teachers, all working to support not only the student, but also follow the accountability models set forth by the federal, the state, and the county levels. Benchmarking is the next key concept. Benchmarking, put simply, is comparing your performance indicators to other like entities who are either exceeding or meeting the expectations set forth by the federal, state, or county guidelines. In the situation that we're discussing tonight regarding the over-identification of African American males as emotionally disturbed, what we would want to do is look for local education agencies that are finding success in closing the gap in disproportionality. The final section is less of a key concept and more about wrapping it all up. So where do we go from here? In improving accountability, we have to look at it through a theoretical framework. In this case, when talking about the over-identification of African Americans as emotionally disturbed, we need to use a gap analysis method from Clark and Estes. When we start digging into the KMO and assessing the knowledge of whoever we're assessing, whether that is the teacher, the principal, the superintendent, the board, the LEA, all the way up, we need to acknowledge what knowledge is missing or what knowledge already exists. We need to look at the motivation of the organization and are they motivated to change? And we need to look at the organization, the structures they have in place, the practices, and is there accountability? Currently, for this problem of practice, accountability ends at the county level. We're held accountable for reducing this disproportionate number. Yet when we get to LEAs and start digging into their practices and procedures and policies, there is no accountability from the teacher standpoint, the principal standpoint, middle management, superintendent, or board. So that's what needs to change. There is no magic cure here. It does come down to about 3 different points of interest: policies and procedures, professional development, and culturally responsive early intervention teaching. Once those things are put into place, accountability measures can be put in place at a local level. If we hold people responsible for implementing the policies and procedures, implementing the new professional development they have gotten, and look for our teachers to be practicing those culturally responsive early intervention practices in their classroom. Only then will we start to see a change in this problem of practice. I hope you enjoyed this brief look into my problem of practice and how it relates to this accountability EDU C522. Thank you very much.